make it into, I believe you have it, to be eligible to qualify for that apartment complex?
So I would use the guidelines that we have here on the books. I wouldn't be looking to, we wouldn't, while I'm presenting this project, it is all of us making it happen. We would be looking to follow the guidelines that are currently in place to prioritize placement within the units.
All right, now I have another question for you. I have a question about, I'm from Indianapolis, but my understanding, I just heard that in that area there's quite a bit of crime. How true is that? My understanding is the police are always there, and by being senior citizens, we're concerned about that.
So from where my office sits and with the relationship that I have with the Bowdoin Area Command Officer, Captain Charles Hank, we work very closely to mitigate crime. We are always in constant communication to make sure that folks that live within the area command's vicinity, their needs are met, the response times are swift, and our top priority is to provide a quality of life that can be comparable to places outside of even North Las Vegas or the city of Las Vegas. We want our seniors, our community members, to live their latter days within the best that we can frame those to be.
Okay, thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCurdy. Any other questions for Commissioner? Commissioner Segerblum.
Yes, that's more of a statement than a question, but my understanding that a project like this would be prevailing wage, so it's good employment for people while it's being constructed.
Yes, that's a public works project, right? It's a public project, but we also know that not only with that being said, we'll also come in on time and under budget if we do it all right, and that's the benefit of it being a prevailing wage project.
And how can I get one in my district?
Let's collaborate.
You just need the will. I said that already. You didn't catch on to that, did you?
But in all reality, the beautiful thing is that the timing is right for all of this. The timing is right for us to have our board moving in the direction that it is, and we really can't let any grass grow under our feet. So the first thing that we have to do is identify all of the undeveloped parcels that we have within our jurisdiction and put thoughts to paper and bring it together. So while this is in my district, on the west side of the district, our thought process is to expand to provide more housing, but also renovating housing that we currently have, so everyone can be lifted up and their quality can be lifted up as we do the work of the people.
Just to follow up with that, has the staff looked at other properties that we own that we could do this on, or other properties that we could renovate? We are going to have a ton of money from Congress, I think, and so we don't want to waste it.
Mr. Gressley.
Yes, I will just say that we've begun to really drill down into our properties, both those existing properties that provide potential for redevelopment opportunities, either to be rehabbed or be replaced. We're also looking at our vacant land. And I think over many years, there will be a strategy to address these opportunities. One current example, for example, is Jamestown Towers. We are looking at what is called a blend of RAD and Section 18 disposition. And we believe that property will qualify for it, and we're actively developing an application which will be coming to you for approval at a future meeting that would allow us to completely rehabilitate Jamestown Towers. I will just throw in one other quite strong possibility there, is that that's a 200-unit property, and we think we can leverage that into what will be 250 Section 8 units, 200 on-site and 50 off-site. So it's a very attractive possibility for us that will be coming to you fairly soon. But we're looking at the other opportunities standing behind it as well.
You're also looking at Joe Neal Plaza.
Oh yes.
Commissioner Greasy, I'm sorry, forgive me. I have a question. You talked about Jamestown Towers, and there were some questions that I had. And I guess maybe one of my questions is, in the rehabilitation process, and I'm saying you got the money. I'm a dreamer. I believe in miracles. You have the money to do it. The concerns are by some of the people that live in there is that, are you going to use, tilt the walls are very stable. And people there are concerned about the electrical sockets, of the, like maybe only 2 per room or maybe 2.5 per room. Their questions are you going to put a thing over there that goes down from the old socket to the new socket, or are you going to actively knock down the walls to put in electrical sockets?
Yeah.
That's just one thing, and I'll just, if anybody else has any other questions, I'm concerned about that.
Well, let me not answer you, because I'm not the architect and I'm not the engineer. But we'll be holding meetings at Jamestown Towers with all the residents to go over what our planning process is. But our intention is to bring it up to totally up-to-date current standards and make improvements to the property. But
So-
we'll be having meetings out there.
So are there any other questions? Let's kind of bring it back to center here, if you don't mind. Are there any questions for Commissioner McCurdy regarding the proposed or the vision of Senator Joe Neal Plaza? I think it's an indicator of what we can do as a board to collaborate, to look at opportunities, and to do something about it. So I just really appreciate you. I think that, you know, I'd love to see it come to fruition. I think it absolutely can. It sounds like, you know, you're putting the pieces together with federal support, but to create a blueprint or a methodology that we can put all throughout the community, because we do need affordable housing all throughout Clark County, even in rural Clark County. And so I think this just could give us some momentum to do some amazing things. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Can we make a motion to send to Congress that we urge our congressional delegation to?
So that's an agenda item for another meeting, but hey, we're going places here. Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, now we'll go to item number 13, receive report from the interim executive director on administrative and operational activities of the agency. Mr. Gressley.
Yes, Commissioners, I will, just to kind of link into Commissioner McCurdy's presentation, I have written a letter of support for his efforts to obtain federal funding to support this. So we really appreciate his leadership, his vision, and his advocacy on behalf of families and seniors in the area.
Absolutely.
His is an example, and Commissioner Segler-Bloom's question really represent a lot of the potential and the future that exists in this agency. I think there's tremendous possibilities, great opportunities here. I want to focus a little bit on some of the successes that you maybe haven't heard about, that have been occurring here on a routine basis, and give some credit to some of our teams. Some of these things relate to items that were in my May 13th correspondence to you, but there are a number of things that have also happened that didn't make it into that because they're very active and current. First, I want to let you know that we have an active and vital Section 8 wait list. After receiving nearly 25,000 interested entries, a lottery has selected 5,000 applicants to become full applicants to our Section 8 program. The result we anticipate is that we will have current information and ready contact information for applicants that will smooth the process of issuing new vouchers for our Section 8 program. This is the result of a significant effort that was undertaken by our IT, eligibility, and ACV teams, and we really appreciate their effort, and I think you need to know about it. We are also pleased to report that our mainstream voucher program, consisting of 298 vouchers authorized by HUD in July of 2018, is fully leased. The success of this program is due in large part to the partnership formed between the authority and 5 organizations that assisted with outreach and referral services for the identification of extremely low-income individuals with disabilities in need of housing. These 5 partners were Help of Southern Nevada, the Department of Health and Human Services, UNLV Medicine, the Mojave Counseling, Southern Nevada Center for Independent Living, and Clark County Social Services. This has been a great success shared by our team, our partner organizations, and most importantly, the 298 households that otherwise would not be in the program today. Following on this success, I am pleased to report that last week on Monday, the authority was notified that it is to receive 586 emergency vouchers to help assist individuals and families who are homeless, at risk of homelessness, fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, or human trafficking, or recently homeless. Implementation of this program, which is scheduled to begin July 1, will once again be supported by a network of partnerships centered on the continuum of care, including many of the same partners, plus some additional. I would add that we were given an opportunity to accept the 586, ask for less, ask for none, or ask for more. I asked for more. So we'll see how many we get. I think we'll get more, but we'll have to wait and see. I also want to remind you to complete the questionnaire regarding your preference for committee assignments. With many upcoming events and opportunities, we anticipate active committee work in the coming months. Some of this will focus on development opportunities and redevelopment opportunities. We will follow up to obtain your preferences. I'm hoping that the committee rosters will be completed and approved by the board at your June meeting. We'll also follow up with you, because I've sent you each a letter with some dates of SNRHA training for commissioners that are coming up through the summer and into the fall. We'll be contacting you to see if you're interested in any of those. You'll be able to attend those virtually, and most of those are conducted over a 2 to 3 hour period during the middle of the day. I want to mention also that this week, representatives of SEIU Local 1107 and the authority's management kicked off our negotiations seeking to develop a new collective bargaining agreement. From my perspective, we are off to a good start. While the process of collective bargaining can be time-consuming, it is an important investment in securing a strong and positive employee management relationship. I very much appreciate the efforts being put forth by both bargaining teams toward a new and improved agreement. Finally, I want to mention 2 upcoming celebrations, and I have some flyers here. Each of you would have found them by your place. That are scheduled for June and are being undertaken by our Supportive Services Department with much appreciated support from Commissioner Diaz and Commissioner Segerblum. The first event on June the 5th is the Family Day Resource and Health Exhibition sponsored by Commissioner Diaz, the City of Las Vegas, and the Authority. The second event on June the 26th is the Homebuyer Resource Expo sponsored by Commissioner Segerblum, Clark County, and the Authority. I want to express my appreciation to Commissioners Diaz and Segerblum, the City of Las Vegas, Clark County, and to our Supportive Services Department, including the Family Self-Sufficiency Team, for putting on these events. And that concludes my report. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gressley. I don't know if you guys caught him, he was talking kind of fast, but if you unpack that, there were a lot of great accomplishments by our staff that indicates the dedication that we have to our residents, to our future residents, and to the community that we serve on the whole. So thank you for giving us that great information. Thanks to the board members, Commissioner Segerblum and Diaz for engaging. Really, if we do more of this and we do it on a continual basis, I think that, like Mr. Gressley said, the untapped potential and opportunity is tremendous for our community. And so I'm excited. Any comments or questions from the board relative to Mr. Gressley's report? Hearing none, we'll go to item number 14. I identify emerging issues to be addressed by the board and interim executive director at future meetings. Received updates on activities of the interim executive director and direct the interim executive director accordingly. So this is our opportunity as a board to state items that we'd like to bring for future meetings, to have agendized for discussion and possible action, things that we would like to share that are going on in our areas relative to affordable housing and opportunities to really get the word out and talk about and tell the story of the things that we're trying to do. Anything from the commission? Commissioner McCurdy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Gressley, for your presentation. I've been getting, or our office has been getting a lot of calls regarding bed bugs. So I think that we should be proactive and maybe do a scan of some of the, I don't know, we can't just go into the properties, but at least do a survey in the properties that are coming up most. Some of the ones that I'm hearing about is Sartini, Jamestown, and also Levy Gardens. And I know there could be many reasons why this could happen. I mean, one of the most heartbreaking reasons I heard, someone was staying in the house and they didn't have the proper, it's just the proper hygiene. And, but the thing is, we can't allow for our residents to live in these kind of conditions. So whatever we can do to get ahead of that, because there's a lot of costs coming in. So I just want to put that on the record and see what we can do to start to mitigate some of these concerns.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Segerbloom.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to propose, and maybe you've already doing this, but maybe in July you could give us your observations so far as to what you've seen, what you see our future is, just some high level view of your first couple of months and what you think about Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority and Las Vegas and how great we are.
He loves us and he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah,
In July,
I'll
you
be
may
happy
not
to
have
do
that statement.
Sorry, Mr. Gressler, go ahead.
Like you said, be happy to do that.
Wonderful. Vice Chair Diaz?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's also been a lot of questions about our succession plan for the executive director. And so I think that it would bode well if we start telling the community the next steps about, finding the next executive director of the agency. So job description, process, and like an estimated timeline of how we're going to get to that successorship. Obviously, it's all fluid. We're not going to be bound, but I think it would be helpful for folks to know that we're working on that, even though they may not be hearing, but we are working on it, and I think that folks want to know.
Yeah, I'll be able to give you, well, we expect to actually be able to give you a report in June of the first few steps, so we can expand on that.
Ms. Craig?
I have a comment, and I'm concerned about the James Tower individuals. You're stating that they're going to be giving us updates of what they're planning on doing, and a lot of them would like to have a timeline because a lot of them are very discouraged. They've had promises about what they're going to do with Jamestown Towers, and they've been very disappointed. Some said they spent all that money for a chiller, which is good, and all that money for an elevator, which is good. But the concern about what kind of things they're going to do to improve Jamestown Towers, because it was built in '72, and some are envious because other places that are older look better. They've expressed those things to me.
Yeah, well, we can do that. We'll be setting up a meeting at Jamestown Tower, and we'll keep the board informed, of course, as well.
Thank you, Commissioner Craig. Anyone else? Commissioner Turner?
Yes, thank you. I had a training this past, earlier this week, Monday and Tuesday, and I know we had took a tour on some of the properties, and we were mentioning about the property management because of the tax credits, and I was wondering if there could be any way where we could possibly train the staff, the administration, to learn how to do the tax credits, so that way we might actually help maybe employ some, because they also had a new Section 3 rule that's going to take effect, excuse me. So, and that's coming up very soon, and they said they want that to be due by July the 1st. So they're going to be targeting the Section 3, the new rule that's going out, and this could possibly build a workforce. We know that there are things that are going to be happening with, a lot of things going on with the DOT and maybe a new development. And if we could tap into some of those, especially if we hope to, Commissioner McCurdy, establish that housing, and maybe we can probably take advantage of some of that training for the tax credits to help without us having to pay outside sources or the other investors paying another management company to do so.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Turner, and really, I think she's spot on the FADA training. So thanks for introducing us to that, Mr. Gressler. That was great training, and we're going in a direction. The tax credit environment is very complex, and I think over the recent years, our team internally has developed the acumen and skill set to really engage in that, and we can only do more. So thank you for that. Mr. Gressler, yes, sir.
Just some quick response, because it's so timely. We do have an individual who's going through the tax credit training and is about to become certified, which will allow us to become certified, we believe, as a tax credit management provider. Secondly, on section 3, that training's going on as we sit here. And we have staff involved in the section 3 training, and so we're on top of it. But if you'd like more information later, I can certainly provide additional details.
Thank you, Commissioner Turner. That was fantastic. Any other comments? I have one before we close this item out. Everybody likes to receive gifts, and I want to tell you about a gift that you may or may not know we even received. We received a gift yesterday from the city of, it's kind of a re-gift because she's already here, but the city of Las Vegas reappointed Vice Chair Diaz to be on the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. She was reappointed, so we're very fortunate to have you sticking around for 2 more years. So let's hear it for Councilwoman Diaz. She came here 2 years ago, rolled up her sleeves, knew probably about as much as I did about public housing. Well, she probably was, she's smarter than I am. But anyway, she didn't know a lot, and she came in and really rolled up her sleeves, and I think is becoming a real passionate person about public housing and what we can do better in our community. So thank you for accepting that reappointment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, we'll go to citizen participation. Items raised under this portion of the agenda cannot be deliberated or acted upon by the Board of Commissioners of the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. If you wish to speak on matters not listed on the posted agenda, please step to the podium, clearly state your name and address. Please spell your last name for the record. The amount of any time any single speaker is allowed will be limited to 3 minutes. It can be extended by the chair or by the board by a majority vote. All comments by the speaker should be relevant to the Board of Commissioners of the Southern Nevada Regional Housing Authority. Ms. Patton, are you going to go first?
Yes,
I wanted to say really quick, if I may, it really is a challenge when someone is in distress, and it's horrible. We've all found ourselves in stressful, distress situations. So, you know, Miss Walker is having some tremendous difficulties and has some concerns, and I just wanted to thank you all for being patient. I know Miss Carpenter's her friend. I hope that everything works out for her because she's a nice person. I just know she's having a tremendously difficult day today. So sorry that all occurred, but things happen.
No problem. We all have it. We all
Yes,
have
indeed.
it.
So
We
just
have our
wanted to say that.
timeline. I'll have mine too probably one day.
Okay.
But
Wadeen, go ahead.
I reside at Jamestown Towers. Now I know Jamestown Towers is one of the oldest SNRHA buildings. But really, they need to paint it. The paint is peeling. I'm looking at all the businesses around them. Arizona Charlie's across the street is painted white and gray. It's looking so pretty. They put up a new building next door to us. Stella Flippin behind us, they paint that apartment. They paved the driveway. I mean, you walk up, you drive up there, you see up on the building, paint peeling on the balconies. It's a mess. And I mean, I don't know what it would cost to paint the building, but I'm sure they're gonna spray it, because I've seen when they did Stella Fleming, they sprayed it, they shot it. Second, we have tenants there, older tenants. I'm 73, but I'm a young 73. I'm 37 really in all reality. But we have tenants there that they need help. I'm gonna give you one example. We have a lady there, Betty. She lives on the 2nd floor. I came out, she had a key, a long key. She said, I'm trying to get in my mailbox. I said, Betty, that's not your key. Our staff in the office is not trained for this. This lady is going, now she's in the hospital, I think. Someone said she got hit by a car.
She died.
She died? Okay. All right. We saw what was going down. As the tenants and residents, we know when a tenant is going down. And the office should be able to tell her. If they go to the office and say, they need this, or she's saying, I got this money, what am I gonna do? All they do is walk her back to her apartment. They should have somebody there to say, hey, look, call somebody for her. What does it take? What does a phone call take? 911. Call a doctor, call us, But these are things that are going down at Jamestown Towers. It's like you're not trained for this. I mean, none of us are trained for this. That's not my field. But I will try and help them. But I think the office should be aware to know, and they see this lady every single day. And when she comes out and sit there and starts talking out her head, you know something is wrong. It's like we had another tenant, Diane. They let her come back. She was in an electric chair. She was urinating on herself. You see this lady is going down. Do something. They say if you see something, say something. Well, I'm saying it right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wadeen. Anyone else like to speak during citizen participation?
Phyllis
Ms.
Carpenter, 5200 Alpine. Okay, so they talked about the FSS program and how they got successors. I was a Section 3 worker. I went to work at Bigger Estates, which your housing authority formed an LLC to manage that property. That's who I went to work for. They like to say that I was a independent contractor. I wasn't. I worked there a year and a half. I was the only one on property for over 6 months while the construction was going on. I did everybody's job from the leasing agent to, I did everything. They said I was a porter, I was maintenance. I did everything the maintenance man did, whatever. Okay, so they pay into a retirement fund instead of federal income tax. Well, I always fill my W-2 out the same, and yet at the end of that job, I owe the IRS because they didn't take any federal withholding out. And I'm in the FSS program, and how am I supposed to succeed? In your guys' goal, I'm the exact opposite of what to reach, to be able to reach, to get a house, to be able to build. I'm worse off now than when I started. And it's just really frustrating to me because I get up here and I say something every time, and you guys just don't do anything. You don't, it's like nothing happens. And it's just really frustrating to me. And I try to give public comment, and I don't want to be a grouch about it, but you know, I'm still, the mold count in my apartment, as of the last test, it's higher now than it was before they remediated it. How was that? I don't know what else to say.
Anyone else like to speak during public comment? This gentleman, Ms. St. Clair, this gentleman's going to come and then you can go right after him. Thank you. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. My name is Justin Winsley, stay at 1801 J Street. I've been experiencing discrimination from Southern Regional Housing Authority since, I want to say 2018. I just went on a family vacation. Like I say, I had to bury someone, wasn't just a family vacation, but the director of public housing, Ava Cruz, said she was going to approve my service animal. I go out of town, I come back, I have an eviction notice that was served to me the day I left to go out of town because I asked the office for a parking permit. So which I called Mr. Grassley's office and the executive office since, I've been dealing with Ava Cruz since January 24th of 2021. She hasn't handled anything. I stated to her, like I said, it's an overwhelming experience to keep going through the situation. I've been through the courts 3 times. The judge denied the eviction 3 times in a row. So they're telling me now to deal with the hearings office. Have a paperwork from the previous apartment that I moved from. I've been dealing with HUD. I dealt with Southern Nevada, Silver State Housing and Nevada Legal Service. Haven't got any answers from any executives. I emailed them. I called multiple ones. Like I say, I stated now I only want to deal with doing things email or I have to record for my safety because they stated that I threatened a staff member. I don't need to threaten anyone on something that I'm being discriminated against. Like it's hurtful and it shouldn't have been going on this long. Ava should have handled it from the first joint when I signed from assessment. I showed her a copy from my previous apartment that I have a case with the Equal Rights Commission about. So to go to a new apartment, I shouldn't experience the same thing. It's been going on for me for over 4 years now, and I'm tired of it.
Mr. Winsley, is it all relative to a service animal?
It's service animal. I told them I stopped allowing them to come in my apartment for COVID because they were going in multiple units and then trying to come in my unit. How do you go in 50 plus other units, then come into my unit? Doesn't make logical sense. So then they're talking, they got masks on. Well, then like you say, I had a maintenance supervisor shoulder bump me. I'm disabled. If I'm telling a manager something, and I'm telling the hearing, and I'm telling her, and I'm turning paperwork into them, and they're not taking it to the hearings office or sending it where it needs to go, shouldn't take this long to have something handled that should have been handled. So any normal cases, I would have came back from vacation and burying a family member and been evicted for the third time. This, like I said, this was the third time she has done this.
Thank you, Ms. Winsley.
My name is St. Clair Haywood from Rose Garden, and I just want to know, I happen to be nominated to be on the RAP board to help the individuals in my complex. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate your service to the Rose Garden for all those many years. We'll bring the microphone to you if you'd like.
Oh, I think I can talk loud enough.
Okay, no, we have you come on forward then.
I can come on.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone here. My name is Delphine Coates. I'm a resident at Arthur D. Sartini Plaza, apartment 415, Las Vegas 89107. I have a couple of complaints about some issues there. First one, we had a manager, he left. He put me in charge of getting new patio furniture for the property. It's still there, it's no good, and every manager after that, don't worry about it, we'll do something about it, but it hasn't happened in over a year and a half. The lights in the annex going to my neighbors are out. It is pitch black at night. You can't see anything. About a year the lights been out. And third, for my unit, I've been there for 10 years. The carpet in there has been there since I've been there. No one can tell me when they put it in, so I'm gonna guess 20, 25 years, and they will not replace it. They said it's in good shape only because I keep it cleaned and I pay for that. But it's still old, and they said it needs to be thrown in the trash. It keeps coming up, shedding up all that old carpet that's worn out. But they said it's in good shape to their eyesight, so they won't replace it. And I've gone over that issue 4 or 5 times, no good.
Thank you, Ms. Coates.
Okay, thank you.
So when I say thank you, I don't know if you noticed, but these gentlemen are taking notes and anticipate that they'll be able to reach out and address the issues or concerns that can be addressed
Okay,
in
thank you.
appropriate fashion. Thank you. Anyone else like to speak during citizen participation? Seeing none, we'll close the citizen, okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Carmen Ontiveros. I'm from James Downs Tower. And I moved there 5 years ago. And when I moved in there, there was a couch in my patio. There was a broom and a mop. My apartment wasn't cleaned at all. And I still, to this day, I have tiles that there's stains. I mop and I clean, but they don't come off. And also, there's this young lady in the office, she's Hispanic. There's a lot of Hispanics in that building. They do not speak English, and they're gonna move her again. This is the second or the third time they move her there. And her name is Veronica Dalder or something like that. But we really need her there. We really need a Hispanic that can translate for these people, because we need that very much.
She's an employee or a resident?
She's an employee
Okay,
in the office.
understood.
They're getting ready to move her
Okay.
today, but we desperately need her in there because a lot of people don't speak English.
Understood.
So, that's it.
Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming today.
Who knows speak Spanish? Nobody had all speak Spanish.
All right, well, thank you all for being here. We'll close the citizen participation, and this meeting is adjourned.